What is an intrusive thought? Intrusive thoughts are mental images that are able to make it into your mind despite you wanting it. They are usually difficult to eliminate, but the possibility of them effectively influencing the person's actions is very low. But then the question arises spontaneously. What would happen in the case in which they do? In the case in which they are actually able to influence someone? Welcome, I'm Frapolo94, and today we will talk about this game that recently caught my attention, called The Coffin of Andy and Leyley. And in the second part of the video we will also talk about the criticism this game received, but that's gonna be a topic for the future. Remember, if you want to support me, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment what you think about the game. But without further ado, make yourself comfy, take some chips, and enjoy The Coffin of Andy and Leyley. I actually did not know almost anything before actually starting the game, except for one particular thing which is gonna come up later. But while I was on the Steam page of the game waiting for the end of the download, an image caught my attention. Our heroes, with a question mark, and under that, we were able to actually meet our protagonists, Ashley Graves and Andrew Graves. Also, this image provided some information which summarized the main personality of the characters, but I tried to not look too much into it because when I play a game I try to avoid for the majority spoilers. But now, let's launch the game! I gotta be honest, I spent several minutes in the title because I loved this soundtrack. It was very catchy despite being an, I think, 10 seconds loop. But anyways, when finally ready, I gave a little look to the settings and then we can start. We are presented with the possibility of using the keyboard or the controller. Since this is an RPG Maker game and so there is gonna be movement on 4 axes, I'm gonna go with the controller for now. The game starts with a little flashback, of which we don't remember that much. In fact, a lot of the words are missing. The one thing we are able to understand is that the two people talking are brother and sister, but after a very short dialogue, it's time to wake up. Welcome home, I guess. Yeah, this doesn't seem exactly the cleanest house on earth. One of the things I usually do when starting a game is to take a look at the menu, because usually I want to see all the possibilities available. And this menu was pretty straightforward, there was just an inventory as important stuff, and apart from that doesn't seem complex at all. Now, the game gave us a quest, to find food in order to not die? Okay, that's kinda interesting. So, as always, let's try to do everything except the quest in order to be able to explore. We found a little soup in the meantime, and while clicking everything in the attempt to find something else, I actually entered into our bedroom. Entering here made the music completely disappear. Forever. Even going backwards wasn't gonna trigger it again. Huh, interesting. Keeping that in mind, let's try to talk with who is presumably our brother Andrew. Apparently, we're having a sort of crisis here. The only food remained to us is this single bottle of tomatoes. And while I was still thinking about that... So there is a new character into the mix. Apparently, this warden was keeping us blocked inside of this house for what could have been months, potentially, and they are not giving us any food. But they don't seem too bothered. Kinda like they got used to it, I guess. What they did not get used to was the music played by their neighbor. And after taking a wooden plank from our library, we went to check it. Apparently our neighbor was trying to create a ritual to summon a demonic creature to maybe help him to do some stuff. Whatever, it is almost time they let us watch the TV, They let us watch the TV? What is happening in this place? There is what appears to be a person keeping us imprisoned into this room, and we also have specific times to watch TV. Useless to hide it, I was very intrigued. The TV was actually able to give me some answers. Apparently, we are into quarantine because of some parasites that potentially infested our body. But you know, I was not born yesterday. I was starting to think there was something wrong with all of this. And my doubts increased when seeing this particular cutscene in which our mother leaves exactly before we get treated into quarantine, apparently. Something is wrong with this. And my theory were confirmed a couple of minutes later. Apparently they sent food supplies to all the people in quarantine, which, you know, it's not true at all. On that same night, apparently, we also got a weird call. It was apparently the girlfriend of Andrew, ready to dump him. The reason is not fully explained to this moment, but we are gonna go back to this later. Unfortunately, Ashley was starting to feel very weak. Because of that, she collapsed. Seeing his sister very weak, Andrew made another attempt to escape from the door, and the warden was once again ready to answer. I gotta say, I was starting to feel a little bit intimidated by the warden. He was always ready behind the door to answer to us. What is he doing? Is he even getting paid because of this? But I was not able to think too much about it, because... Alright, maybe this sound for you doesn't mean anything, but for me it gave me PTSD. A lot of PTSD. I think it's better to check our neighbor. Huh? So apparently our neighbor wasn't mad. There was really the possibility of summoning a demon. But apparently the neighbor forgot to get a sacrifice. After making our way into the room, Ashley made a comment about the possibility of eating this guy. And you know, this was the moment in which I paused the game for a second, I closed my window, I put myself even more confident than before, because their reaction to this possibility was not shock or surprise. They were cold thinking about the possibility of eating him. When you get isolated and you have no more food, is there really another option? Are you able to maintain your morality? Or are you just gonna scrap it all together? The situation was starting to feel very tense, very serious by this moment. Until... This thing will be done a lot in the game. There will be a lot of moments in which all the serious stuff will immediately be stopped by some goofy moments, which overall are able to make you digest the whole thing better. I mean, we literally just cut off the limbs of a person. We were not the killers, that's true, but still, to do something like this you still need a lot of strength. Or a lot of madness, you decide. After a very delicious meal with the limbs of their neighbor, it was time for another flashback. This time we are in the past of Ashley and Andy. This is the moment in which I can talk about one thing in particular. In this moment, like in many others, Ashley is gonna seem very possessive towards her brother. And this is gonna come up a lot in the future. Basically, Ashley doesn't want Andy to date one of her friends, and because of that, she has a plan to block her inside of an old abandoned house. We arrive to the moment of the execution of the plan, and I am starting to theorize something. We are not able to see the face nor the name of this girl, and since this dream is being done by Ashley, the possibilities are two. The first one is Ashley does not care at all about this person and so she completely forgot about her. And the other one is that Ashley on purpose cancelled this person from her memory. Or maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but I mean, nothing is done without a purpose, allow me to speculate. The plan is to play hide and seek until she hides inside of a chest. At that point, we are gonna block the exit. Andy seemed to feel very bad executing this plan. In fact, once they actually are able to trap her inside of there, he wants to free her immediately, also considering she was having a weird attack of asthma. Even though, in the end, Ashley had different plans. She seemed to know what to say exactly to convince Andy. She was able to touch the correct buttons. And just like that, the chest was closed. But it's not gonna stay closed for a lot of time, right? It's just until the next morning. But flashback time is over, because Andrew was starting to feel guilty because of what they did, showing still some humanity left into him, even after all this time. Ashley, on the other hand, reminded me much more of what I did read in the starting image. But at least, she was able to consolate Andrew. After a nice rest, also being invigorated from the food, mind you, it was time to investigate more on that weird ritual circle present in the neighbor's room. Maybe it was possible to summon another demon and ask him to make us escape. Nothing can go wrong in this plan, unless... It was only a matter of minutes before the warden actually entered inside of the room and saw the cultist dead. We had to clean everything very fast. And it was in this point another thing was able to impress me a lot, while I was searching for a way to hide myself. It went so badly for you that I'm going to let you try again. Eh? I am going to let you try again? Who is the narrator exactly? He's making it so that we follow the story? Keeping in note to pay attention to what the narrator says, we continue. But of course, only after trying to fail again on purpose to see if there were extra line of dialogues, and in fact there were! Listen, this isn't it. Huh? Up to this point, I thought the narrator was either Ashley or Andrew. But now, I'm starting to doubt even that. They seem to be directly talking either to the two characters or to us. We're gonna keep that in mind. In the meantime, let's hide into the actual real place we have to use. At this point, we had to be really careful to not make any sound, to prevent the warden from hearing us. Was Andrew able to put morals apart in order to help his sister? Or maybe, before I was wrong, and he doesn't have morals at all. But hey, now we were finally able to exit. We were able to go outside, but for what? Ashley had no clear idea about what to do, which made Andy even angrier, despite the fact that she wasn't really scared of him. You know, every time they discuss, it always seems to me that Ashley is the one leading the conversation. Even if Andy talks about something serious, in the end she's always able to make him apologize for something. Let's remember this. But anyways, after apparently having made peace, we were finally able to exit. Or so we thought. We were at the 5th floor of an apartment, and there was still another warden in the building ready to stop us. We could of course just kill him, but this one had a gun. And if they don't care about giving us food, I don't think they would care about killing us. There was, though, one door already opened in the other floor, the 302. Apparently even some people in quarantine have privileges, if you're pretty enough, that is. This girl was able to get a lot of food supplies, providing particular services to the wardens. For now, she was useless. We just left her there and went back to the apartment. The plan was simple. The demon was able to kill the cultist, maybe it will be able to kill even the warden. After recreating the ritual circle correctly, the plan was to ask nicely to the girl downstairs to actually call the guard using a walkie-talkie and ask him to come into the room of the cultist for some special treatment, ready to be sacrificed. Now there's only one question. How do we convince the girl to do that? Now threatening for a murder is also fine. Or at least, you're able to deal with it mentally, even when your sister is not in danger. Interesting. After this gentle maneuver, of course she decided to cooperate. Now, everything was ready, and the warden entered the room. Now there were no more wardens. We almost created a safe route to be able to exit from the building. And not before receiving a weird talisman from the demon itself, which apparently will give us clairvoyant dreams. But now we have more important stuff to do. Let's go back to Andrew. Andrew had to kill another person. And everything Ashley was thinking about was not the murder, but that Andrew may have done something to her before doing that. Ashley really has some problems in the head, honestly. And since they were talking about this, it was also revealed the reason for which Andrew's girlfriend dumped him. It was because Ashley kept harassing her. And even while listening to the call itself, we were able to hear the girl saying Ashley. Has Ashley ever done something good for Andrew? She washes her hands of everything, and leaves Andrew having to deal with it. She doesn't take responsibility for the kills Andrew had to do in order to save her. No, Andrew did it. And apparently, Andrew chose to do everything. And there is another thing Andrew chose to do. And in the end, Andy is not able to do it. I'm starting to wonder if he regrets not having done it, honestly. But they are siblings after all. By the way, this doesn't mean they aren't both crazy, literally. Andy was trying to choke her, and she still tried to manipulate him, even in that situation. But before leaving for good, Andrew wants Ashley to make a promise. Andy and Leyley, the way in which they used to call each other when they were younger, have to stay here, dying inside of this building. Only Ashley and Andrew are able to come out of here. Finally, after finding a safe way to jump down from a window, we were actually free. After 3 months of a very suspicious quarantine, they were finally able to take the bus and leave. And this is the end of episode 1. Episode 2 starts with a little time skip of 1 week, in which apparently we finished all our money and still don't have a pretty clear idea about what to do now. Huh? Run over by a car? Just kidding! This narrator is very weird. After some funny arguments between the two, in which once again Ashley calls Andrew Andy, despite promising of never calling him like that again, the news reveals the apartment in which they lived got burnt from top to bottom. Which also means that for what the authorities know, theoretically Ashley and Andrew should be deceased. Which means both of them can sleep safely another night. A very peculiar dream, I may say. And also considering we have a demonic artifact which supposedly gives us visions during dreams, it's better to not risk it and escape immediately. So we decided to hide behind a corner to be able to ambush the killer. And during the waiting there were also some interesting discussions. Yeah, I really wonder what is stopping him from having other girlfriends, right? Seeing another cultist similar to the one we killed in our apartments really made us curious, so we decided to split up and we can finally play as Andrew, yes! From the freaking start of the game, I was thinking about the possibility of giving us more variety, we may say, by being able to change the character, finally! This episode 2 is starting really well. But anyways, after being able to hide inside of a muffin cart, we were able to enter in the cultist hideout. They were apparently trying to summon a demon under their leader. But without success. We go back and reunite with Ashley right in time. Being back to play as Ashley, we theorized that the killer was gonna hide in our house, being able to kill us when we less expect it. The plan is to take all our supplies, including our gun, and then escape to a park, where the killer will have less chances to ambush us. But you know, when I play a game for the first time, one thing I am is curious as hell. And so, on purpose, we are immediately gonna go to the killer. I love how the narrator says, the world is much better without you. Let's go back on topic. We take all our stuff and then escape to the park, where we find something very important for sure. Back playing as Andrew, we have the gun given to us by Ashley, and now it's time to play hide and seek with the killer. And just like that, it was over. Ashley was once again able to make Andrew do all the dirty stuff. But at least, now we were able to use the car of the killer. But while they were celebrating, I was starting to think, who sent a killer to us? We are considered dead by the authorities. Or maybe we aren't? Was that guy just trying to rob someone randomly? But it doesn't make sense. When he arrived to the hotel, he just straight up went for our room. Huh. Let's keep this in mind. Once again, where do we go now? What do we do? And Ashley brought up once again the possibility of going to our parents. Not to talk, or to show us up, but just to rob them. From how Ashley talks, it's clear she has something up with them. What did happen between Ashley and our parents? Maybe she just doesn't care at all, or maybe there is a reason for which she hates them. And the same may apply to our parents. After all, they gave their new address only to Andrew, never to Ashley. The only thing they asked from Ashley was to never call them again. But I don't have too much time to think about it, because I get distracted from the funniest scene of the game. It is near this moment that Ashley calls Andrew Andy once again. Andrew said something that really made me start to think. You will continue until I'm tired of correcting you. What if this is the whole reason for which we are here right now? What if Andrew arrived to this point in life exactly because of that? He was tormented to the point of not being able to say no again. Or maybe something else happened. Something more complex. Maybe related to that girl we saw before. And she's even able to make him feel guilty for what he just said. She is behaving as the most manipulative person I have ever seen. But for now, it's time for a deserved sleep. This time there is no vision. Instead we are in what appears to be the realm in between. A realm between our world and the demonic world. After a little mini-game with some red flowers to create our path, we are able to talk with the demon itself, which explains us that the artifact we just used to predict the future needs to be recharged with more human sacrifices. And of course, Ashley at this point is completely thinking about killing for real our parents. In the meantime, we finally arrive near their house, which apparently was pretty big. Didn't our parents have problems with money? How were they able to afford this? Especially considering only 3 months passed. Did they have that many money away, or... The house itself was also full of stuff. There was even a fully decorated underground room, with a 3rd bed? Were they trying to have another child? But what's even more terrifying is by opening a drawer in their bedroom, we found our death certificates. And I mean, the building burnt, so it was normal to have death certificates of your sons, but these were from 3 months ago. We died the other day, technically. But our thoughts were stopped by someone entering inside of the house. Is that really the best you can do? You don't see us for 3 months, and what you say is, Andrew, what are you doing here? And also that face. That face seems the face of someone that just met a person they despise, not the face of someone that is able to see her son again after 3 months. But for now, it was better to just play along and pretend to not know anything. What's interesting is that after seeing all of this, Andrew was starting to take into consideration the possibility of killing them to refresh the artifact. Even our father was barely interested to us being back here. At least they allowed us to stay here for 1 night, but our mother specifically wanted us to sleep in 2 separate places. Does she know something that we don't? It was better to not think about anything else for today, and Andrew went to sleep. Is this a representation of our guiltiness? We are still thinking about the cultist we ate? The worst part is, even in our dreams, we weren't able to stop having Ashley follow us. This time though, there was something different. There was another girl. Julia. Our ex-girlfriend. Apparently, all she wanted was just us to give her more attentions, and maybe make Ashley more independent. But it seems not even Andrew was too much interested into doing that. But there was also another item into this room, the phone, with 127 messages. And if you remember what Andrew said in episode 1 about Julia, you already know who sent these messages. Ashley never stopped tormenting Julia while she was with us, even just sending letters with death threats. Ashley never stopped observing every single move of Julia. And after giving back the missing limbs to the cultist, there was another chest, very similar to one we already saw. We finally discovered the name of the girl, Nina. Even when they were younger, Ashley was completely emotionless. She didn't care about anyone, just Andrew. We immediately searched for a place to hide the body, and after promising to never say anything about this, finally all came together. Andrew is nothing but a slave to Ashley. He will be forever stuck with her. He doesn't even consider her a person anymore. The narrator itself is gonna call her a creature. But then, why, in several situations in which Andrew could have got rid of her, he didn't? Was it because they are siblings? Or maybe there is something we still don't know? Another flashback. This time we are at our home. Our father is looking mindlessly in the distance, just got fired. We are able to finally see the face of Nina, which seems surprisingly similar to the patient in the room 302. But maybe I'm looking too much into this. Also, apparently in TV they were just broadcasting about a surgeon, which was actually able to open a soda company. And we already heard of this soda, it was called the Toxi Soda. But it's not relevant. The important thing is, we actually make a blood oath with Ashley. And in this moment it occurred to me. In episode 1, there was a weird drawing while inspecting our room. And now it was finally clear. This drawing was a representation of what we just did and of our blood oath. We wake up to our sister, which once again was trying to convince us to kill our parents. Not before being interrupted by our mother, which apparently wanted to tell us something about Ashley. But it was too late. The sacrifice was coming near. Of course, for now Andrew still did not want to try to kill them. He just wanted to secure the money to be able to escape from this place. But did Ashley trust Andrew enough to leave him with their parents? When I do a game of this type, I usually try to roleplay a little bit, and in my opinion, no. So while Andrew goes and takes the money with the card, we were gonna set up the ritual spot. And after everything was ready, it was time for the ritual. We really did it. We didn't kill them with our hands, but we still called the demon to do that. Now we have to get rid of the corpses. But there was something surprising. Their hearts were still beating. The sacrifice of the demon didn't cause them to die. And even in the past, we never actually checked if the other people sacrificed to demons were dead or not. This unfortunately means that we cut off the cultist limbs while the cultist was still alive. Now they were really dead. It was time to get rid of the corpses. First of all, let's cut them into pieces so we can carry them more easily. From this moment, Andrew will seem even more detached than before, just passively following what Ashley says. We removed all the teeth from the skulls, burnt a part of their torsos, and even had a meal with them. Apparently Ashley believed eating them would have given us a sense of superiority. After everything has been taken care of, it was time to sleep one last time and prepare for the next day. Once again in the land in between, this time there was something different. Someone was chasing us. We needed to hurry up. And after overcoming some different rooms, it was finally time to go face to face with the person that was chasing us. You know, in the moment in which I saw this scene, I remembered immediately of one phrase Andrew said to Julia. Could you tie up your hair? You will pull on it again. But after all, Ashley knows Andrew will never have the guts to do so. There is no need to use the gun. Of course, Ashley will not talk to Andrew about this dream, but for now, it was time to dispose permanently of the corpses, by throwing their bones off a bridge. And after a final dialogue between the two, this was the end of episode 2. And I would love to be able to go to episode 3, but unfortunately that is still not out. So let's backtrack for a second, because there is still stuff we are missing. First of all, I wondered, what happens if instead I decide to shoot Andrew? Yeah, but apart from that moment, nothing really seems to change. For now, maybe in episode 3 it's gonna change, who knows? But no worries, we are still missing something. What happens if instead we, Andrew, stay with the parents while Ashley goes to take the money? We're gonna be able to have another discussion with them. In particular, we can decide to betray Ashley and actually be able to live a normal life with them. At this point, I'm just curious. Let's just decline. Declining allowed us to get more useful information, for example, the death certificates. Apparently, our parents were contacted by this surgeon, which told them we got killed by the parasites or something. But I think if you paid attention, you know where I'm going. A surgeon, like the one we heard on TV the other day. I mean, the other day, it was technically a flashback, but still, that's the same person of the toxic soda industry. But apart from that, we cannot even believe fully our mother, because at this point it almost seems clear to me she doesn't really care about us. Even though she commented the situation in a very bizarre way, to be honest. Yeah, let's say honestly I'm starting to have a similar impression, you know? But anyways, there was something slightly different. While they were dismembering their parents, Ashley seemed off. Was she finally starting to feel regretful? Did she have a conscience after all of this? Regardless of that, it was too late, so we decided to go to sleep. But this time we got a fantastic idea. What if we try to hold simultaneously the artifact to get both teleported into this prediction dream? And that's exactly what happened. There were some very peculiar puzzles, in which we traversed once again across the whole story we just saw. Ashley and Andrew spending a lot of time together, imprisoning Nina instead of a chest, cooking mom and dad, and most important, segregating forever Andrew. This last puzzle in particular will decide the next ending we get. And while in my gameplay I actually did first the door on the left, we are first gonna talk about the door on the right. It was nothing too particular actually. Ashley just found a ghost which apparently talked with the green color, so we may assume it was Andrew. But apart from that, the ending was mostly the same, except for one particular part. Our hand has the mark of the demon now. Also, there is another particular interaction if you decide to accept the job from your parents. Despite your decision, in fact, Andrew is not able to do that. Andrew's will is so strong that your choices don't even matter. Or maybe he is so broken to the core that your choices don't even matter anymore. But now, the video will assume a different tone, because it's finally time to talk about the ending that made the whole community, or a huge part of it at least, completely shocked. Are you ready? In fact, if in this puzzle you actually position the things in this way, you will get access to the door on the left. Now, let's pay attention to what the door says. Somehow, it seems like a highly questionable idea to take this route. Interesting, so even the narrator itself is debating if we should go here or no. But what's behind this room is gonna be pretty symbolic. The only way for Andrew to be able to escape from his prison is to be always present for Ashley, which is represented of course by the pink bunny. But now, are you ready to see the prediction dream this time? Alright, there is not much else in this ending so different from the other one. But now, remember when at the start of the video I told you there was only one information I knew about this game, and I never told you which one was it? Let me explain. I was on my Discord server just talking to some people, and someone mentioned how people were destroying this game on social medias like Twitter or even on Steam reviews because of this particular scene. Now, just to precise, I don't support the idea of having this kind of relationship with any members of the family. We may actually just say that the whole reason for which I started to play this game is because I was curious about why people were lamenting so much. Was this just gonna be a game that doesn't care about plot in exchange for fan service? Was this just gonna be a game with bad topics handled poorly? No. No. Absolutely no. I genuinely like this game. From some of the reviews that they showed me, I was expecting a game which was gonna abuse this theme up to the point in which it becomes very gross. I found out about the game The Coffin of Andy and Leyley. I have actually lost faith in humanity. What is wrong with all of you? Instead, what I got was a pretty funny story and some new soundtracks to put on while studying. The Coffin of Andy and Leyley is so ass, like they are siblings. Whoever likes it needs to go outside, TF. And if you are still listening, I will explain why I liked this game despite the presence of this quote-unquote dangerous topic, okay? In my opinion, talking about a certain topic in any form of art, in a book, in a movie, in a sculpture, in a theater exhibition, or like in this case, in a game, is not inherently a bad thing. You are virtually able to talk about everything, but it depends from the context, depends from who talks about it, depends if it's done to teach a lesson. There are multiple factors to keep into consideration about this. This is literally a toxic relation between a psychopath and their slave, which by the way has a sort of Stockholm syndrome, which murdered multiple people. I find it almost more curious that people are not debating the fact that there is cannibalism in the game. Oh, but you know, in order to know that, you would actually need to play the game effectively. I find it almost bizarre. I got more terrified while we were literally dismembering our parents rather than seeing this 1-minute scene. Any and all Coffin of Andy and Leyley enjoyers, please unfollow, block me, and end it all, thanks. And I think one of the reasons for which this game received a big amount of negative comments is because they lacked context. It's not the first time people heard something from someone else and just assumed it as the maximum truth. And on that note, a lot of games actually should be considered terrible. Oh my god, guys, Lisa the Painful is a terrible game. It has drugs and addiction in it. Yeah, except the game actually shows you how drugs and addiction are able to potentially turn you into a monster. What I'm basically saying is, just criticizing a game because there is one particular theme in it doesn't seem a good way to discuss something. It seems to me just wanting to put a wall on every possible argument of discussion. I'm not playing a game where incest is seen as fun and quirky. Redditors trying to convince me that incest is good actually because a funny indie game is full of it. That's the point. No one is saying it's good. I know there are some people that think it's actually good, but not because of the game. They just believe it for some reason and I don't support them. But no, the game is not full of it. Because I'm not saying you cannot criticize the game. It's a different thing. Like, for example, this Steam review talks about how there are too many dialogues. That's a thing we may talk about. I too may agree to an extent that sometimes I felt there were a little bit too many dialogues. But are you really gonna put a game into the trash because of a 1-minute sequence in an alternate route in which the game calls you out for doing that? If you want to do that, of course you can. No one can remove your opinion. You can believe what you want. But honestly, if you are saying this game is bad because the theme exists, and not because maybe it was handled poorly or could have been done better, then, as the developer said, cry about it. This was definitely a ride, but anyways, if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments what you think about this particular video because it's the first time I try to do something different. And also let me know if you would like me to stream this game once episode 3 comes out. But anyways, for now, I was Frapollo94, and I will see you next time.